then we drove to Yellowknife.
Yeah, we got up at what, 5 a.m.?
4.
4 a.m. Okay, 4 a.m.
We got 4
but like
because we needed to be there.
We were so excited that we actually got up at 4 a.m.
But the thing is, okay, so when you're sleeping, which we're really excited for our next trip, which will be later on, when you're sleeping in the back of a truck, you wake up with the sun pretty much. So, because the sun was rising quite early there. It wasn't 4, but it was like that 5-ish range. And when you wake up with the sun, you feel so, like we find, not scientifically proven, but we find that we felt so much better. We felt like we were just more energized. And yes, like we did go to bed earlier because when the moon was up, we were in bed, or when the northern lights were out, we were in bed. But it was so nice. And then when we woke up that morning at 4, we were like, yeah, we're up. And then it was so easy because everything we needed was in our truck. So we literally crawled out of our bed and we both like drove to Yellowknife in our PJs. So we like crawled out of bed, went around to the front. I like started the truck and then we just drove. And it was like it.
Yeah, and then that was about a 5-hour drive. And then we kind of got lost there trying to find the boat place, but eventually we found it.
Yeah, we had to call him.
And then it was really cool. It was very cold on the boat. It was very windy.
What were we doing on the boat?
Okay, it was a fishing boat tour.
Great Slave Lake Tours.
Yeah, definitely if you're there, look them up. It was really cool. We got out there. He showed us how like they do commercial fishing. He like put out the net, and we got to I think you got to toss the anchor of the net in or something.
I did not toss it very far. He kind of laughed at me, and then I think he brought it back in and tossed it again.
Yeah, she tried.
I tried.
And then after that, he took us to one of the islands on Great Slave Lake.
He owns it,
and I don't know about that.
Well, there's like 2 that he like uses.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, but and then like we got to like fish off the boat, and we got to fish off the island, and then we both caught a jack. I think we were the only ones on that trip who actually got one.
Yeah.
And then like after we fished and we ate on the island, he drove. He drove us back to like the net, and he reeled in the net, and then like he caught all the fish that he caught. He like chopped up, and we had like a boat fry or a fish fry on the boat.
And we had raw fish.
Yeah.
On the boat.
He made sushimi.
Sushimi, yeah. Because we had a couple people from Japan on the trip, which was really cool because like sushimi is Japanese. Don't quote me on that. But it was really cool, and we both really love sushi, and we really love raw fish, and we really love that. And then he had wasabi, and so we were like we were eating whitefish because that's what he had cut up was the whitefish. So we were like eating whitefish and just dipping it in the wasabi, and then I'm like, my mouth is watering. So good. And okay, so we are from like Saskatchewan, and usually in southern, well, I guess we're down south compared to them, which was weird because we're always like, yeah, we're up north. We're not.
Yeah.
But where we are, pickerel is usually the better fish, and there the jack was, or like the pike, the jack, whatever you want to call it, was so good.
So good.
And then the pickerel was not as good, like not very good. It was like it almost tasted fatty, but we did catch like a 12-pound. Yeah. Or he caught a 12-pound.
And a little bit side note, but not really. If you take a tour from this guy, like ask about his dried fish.
Oh yeah.
Because it is fantastic. Oh, smoked fish. Because it is fantastic.
I think. ended up going to the farmer's market, which was really cool. It was just a great place to be. We ended up getting bannock and eating bannock just like by, I think it was City Hall, and then just like by City Hall. So we just like ended up sitting on the grass and eating bannock in Yellowknife, which...
And cupcakes.
And cupcakes.
I really wanted cupcakes. Hey, what was that
I had
about?
cookies though. I did have cookies.
Yeah.
We pretty much just ate desserts. We went there and just ate a bunch of desserts. It was really neat because we kind of went with the flow and everything ended up really well. And so we didn't have a place to stay.
Yeah.
And we knew that Walmart allows people to stay. And so we drove to Walmart.
And we became a trucker for a night.
And we did.
Because there was a trucker there too, so we weren't the only ones.
But we...
And then we stayed the night. And then in the
went
morning we
like
went...
7.
Oh yeah. And then in the morning we went into Walmart and brushed our teeth.
Thank you, Walmart.
Yeah. Legislature.
Yeah.
Okay. We went to that building. And it was really cool. We got a tour there, which also highly recommend getting the actual tour. Was it free? Was it a free tour?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a free tour.
It was a free tour.
Stories
There's
to tell.
too many stories to tell.
Every picture on it is a story behind
We
it.
could have a 20-minute video on that alone.
Yeah. But we're not going to do that.
We're not going to do that. We're going to tell you... Not 3. We're going to tell you 1.
Just what?
The polar bear rug.
Yeah.
So in the room where everyone meets, there's this polar bear rug. And that was brought in from further up north. And it was brought in because there was this mayor and he wasn't listening to his people. And his people they kept telling him that there's polar bears in the village and they're causing havoc and we need to deal with it. And he was a little bit too involved in the mines that were going on. They were building things out there or building structures out there. So he was busy with that and wasn't listening to his people. And then they ended up, the local tried to tell him again and the mayor wasn't listening. And so then finally the local showed up and anyone's allowed to come and attend
Their
meetings. And so he walked in and they'd had to shoot the polar bear, which was really sad, because no one was listening. And he put the polar bear rug down and he's like, well, now will you listen to me? And when she was telling the story, it was really weird. I got choked up. Like, I remember like sitting there and she was just telling the story and it was talking about how he just wasn't listening to his people and how and they keep it there as a symbol to listen to the people and to make sure that their voice is heard.
Yeah.
And that was... to the museum. We're not museum people.
We are not.
But and it's nothing against any museums. We appreciate every museum out there. We are just more hiking.
We like doing things.
We like doing things.
Like active things.
Yes. Yeah. But the one thing that I there's 2 things I really appreciated about the museum in Yellowknife. First off, their restaurant was fantastic, and we had bison burgers in their restaurant.
So good.
It was so good, and we had soup, and we were both really hungry because we had like gone early in the morning to the legislature building, spent like an hour and a half in that tour, and then we did like the entire museum, and then we were like, oh my gosh, like we need to eat, and it was so good. Yeah. And then there was, they have local photographers. They have all their pictures placed out there. And that was just, they were beautiful.
Yeah, spent a lot of time.
I spent like at least half an hour just looking at all the wonderful photographers from out there. And just their pictures, and they all had little blurbs under them, and they were just, I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved that. Up until that point, we were both very busy with life, and then when we went to the Northwest Territories, it kind of just calmed everything right down. And then you could tell we're like, now we're chill. Like, we're in the Northwest Territories. We have a couple bear stories to tell you, though.
Ooh, yeah, bears. Okay, well, I'm going to tell the first
tigers
one.
and bears. Oh my!